Hey, how's it going? Drew T. Jackson, coaching, speaking, and training. And so good to be back. Had a great time, a long weekend, stay over with my family. And we stayed in a tree house. It was really cool. The kids loved it and had a great time. So that's why there was not a video on Monday. But we are back at it. It's Wednesday. We're talking about communication. And I want to give you the 4 unpardonable sins of a communicator. And I just actually broke one. I've been preparing this and then I broke it. See, what I want you to know is these communication sins, they transfer even over into your one-to-one connections. And I just had one, and it's perfect, really, that I can share with you how I just my sins. But number 1 is being unprepared. Unprepared. Now I had a horrible dream. The other night I was sleeping and I had this dream that I was driving to an event, a speaking engagement, and I had no notes. I had not thought about what I was going to speak on. I was completely unprepared. I'm telling you, it was a nightmare of a dream, and I felt the anxiety. It was like, why would I ever put this off and not prepare? And put myself in this situation where I'm driving up to this event and I have not prepared to speak. That's horrible. And I felt it all. But here's the thing. I have a meeting I'm trying to set up, a short interview that we'll see in a few weeks with a business owner. And we had been going back and forth through email. Well, he offices in the same office building that I'm in, and he just happened to walk in while I was walking to the room here to create this video. And I began the conversation. I said, hey, I haven't gotten back to you on the email, but what about us planning to record this video 2 weeks from now on the 15th? And we were kind of going back and forth, and he asked me a bunch of questions. Now, I had this going in the back of my head, but really my focus was on preparing this video. And so I knew I had that going on, but I hadn't responded to the email with him because I had not fully prepared yet. And so then he's like, okay, let's do it on the date I suggested, the 15th, 7 a.m., let's go ahead and do it. I'm like, okay, let's lock it up. I look at my calendar. I have an event, a training I'm doing at 7 a.m. on the 15th. And I was unprepared. And I blew it. And it totally, he was like, you know what, let's actually, why don't we just do the email thing? And once you get it figured out, just let me know and we'll get it figured out. And I was unprepared in that situation. Can you see how our communication broke down? And it's kind of like, if I'm him, it's like, why are you wasting my time right now, man? Get your stuff together and get back to me. So 4 unpardonable communication sins. Number 1, being unprepared. You don't want to be unprepared in your one-to-one interactions, in your group interactions, if you're leading a team, and if you're talking to a group of people, because what it feels like is exactly what that person felt. Hey man, you're wasting my time. You're wasting my time. We don't want to do that. Okay. Number 2, uncommitted. Now you have to be committed to connecting and communicating with the crowd and with the group of people that you're talking to. It can't be this, if it hits home with them, fantastic. If it doesn't, whatever. No, you've got to be committed and make the decision. I am going to connect with these people. I'm going to be committed to making sure that I communicate well what I'm trying to say. Number 3, being uninteresting, not taking the time to put together a story, to share an interesting story or a dream or a nightmare that I had the other night. You've got to be prepared to take the time to be interesting. It doesn't take much. John says it doesn't take much to be interesting, but it does take something. It does take a little bit more. It does take a little bit more time, a little bit more thought. If you feel like you've got it good, give it one more try. Give it 5 more minutes. Think about it a little bit more. Think about how that story you can add a little bit more to be interesting. And then number 4 unpardonable sins of a communicator. Number 4 is uncomfortable. Being uncomfortable. This has got to be one of the worst, is when you see a person that's fidgeting with their clothing, or they keep untucking their shirt's too tight, their clothing is too tight, their jeans are too skinny, okay? And they look uncomfortable. They're not able to be themselves. And that's one of the biggest things is when I'm thinking about speaking, when I'm going to a speaking event, I don't care. Hey, I wouldn't care, I haven't done it yet, but if I wore the same outfit 5 days in a row, now I'll change my shirt, I'll get 3 white shirts, whatever it takes. But I would rather be comfortable in what I'm wearing when I'm communicating to others and feel good in what I'm wearing than go up and be uncomfortable and try to be trendy, or try to look good, or try to look cool, or try to wear new clothes just so I can. I'm telling you, what you wear really affects how you feel when you're communicating. And then obviously the other is what you're wearing and how you feel about that, and then how you feel about yourself. If you're not comfortable in your own skin, it shows, and it makes everybody in the room feel uncomfortable. So the 4 unpardonable sins: being unprepared, being uncommitted, being uninteresting, and being uncomfortable. And you don't want to commit those in your one-to-one engagements, in your team meetings of maybe 10 people, or in your gatherings where you're communicating to a crowd of people. Make sure you're prepared, and you'll do well. All right. Talk to you guys on Friday about your dream. Bye-bye.